Hello out there in the world of comics. Today I want to talk about a topic that may surprise some of you. It's not one of my usual topics, but it is military and arts related, so some people might be interested. The big news is Jin of the band BTS has joined the South Korean army. If you're one of the people that isn't familiar with BTS, they are a really popular band from South Korea that has been topping the international pop and hip-hop charts the last few years. There's 7 guys, they sing and dance, and they've been called a boy band, but that's kind of a misnomer because the oldest one is now in his 30s and the youngest is 25. So the guys are Jin, Suga, J-Hope, RM, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. These are their stage names, of course, and they've been performing since around 2010, and as mentioned, the oldest one, Jin, is now 30, which means that by South Korean law, he is technically overdue for enlisting in mandatory military service. South Korea is one of many countries that has conscription, specifically universal male conscription, which means that all male citizens of South Korea between the ages of 18 and 28 must serve a term of enlistment in the South Korean military. There are exemptions, of course, if you're not physically or mentally capable, and you can get deferments, usually to prefer a deferment to pursue education, or if you're working in a job that is considered important. But sooner or later, a deferment runs out, and you have to enlist later. So let me clear up some misconceptions before we go any further. Countries with universal conscription generally require every male citizen to serve in the military for a set period of time. That's just part of life in that country. Everyone there knows it, they expect it, even if they don't like it, they just grow up and get through it and get it done. One country that I know of, Israel, even has universal conscription for both males and females. Some countries have what's known as lottery conscription, which means that the government needs a certain number of young men to serve in the military, but not all of them. So only a percentage of them are picked at random in a lottery, and the rest get lucky. In the United States, we don't have conscription. We do have something called selective service, which is typically known by the slang term the draft, or getting drafted. Now, in the United States, all male citizens are supposed to register for selective service at the age of 18, and technically make themselves available in case there is a draft, but no one ever actually gets drafted. It's just there in case Congress decides it's necessary, and then they activate the system. We generally have enough volunteers to enlist willingly, so this selective service system is never used. Anyhow, South Korea is one of the countries that has universal male conscription, and Jin, as the oldest member of BTS, did apply for a deferment, and he got one. But remember, that just puts it off for a while. You still have to go in at some point, or face fines or prison time. So what does this mean? As far as BTS goes, regular fans of BTS have been following this for a long time now. They're familiar with what it means to the band as performers, their performance schedules, their solo careers, and so on. If you're interested in that, there are plenty of BTS fan sites out there. I'm not so concerned with what it means to them as a band, so much as just what it will look like for them joining the military individually. Now, I'm not an expert in South Korean culture or processes, but I can paint a likely picture of what will happen. Jin has already reported for duty. He is the first member of the band to go. At some point, Jin got a letter telling him to report to an induction center. He was probably told to report and to only bring a small bag with a couple days' worth of personal possessions, such as a change of clothing and some toiletries. Once there, his personal data was entered into their computer system. He likely got a physical examination, including things like blood draws, vaccines, drug tests, a few other things. This will be typical for everyone. There will be a bunch of other guys there going through the exact same thing. At some point, there will be a fitness test and uniforms issued to him, and it looks like he's already gotten his hair cut too. Now, the military can put a person wherever the military needs them. However, I believe even most conscription-based militaries will at least ask if there's anything in particular that you'd like to do right off the bat. There's no guarantee that you'll get what you ask for, but you might as well ask. It just so happens if you want to enter a job that doesn't have enough personnel in it, they might honor your request. Now, the members of BTS are huge pop stars, very famous, and they will no doubt be offered preferential treatment. So if they want nice, cushy office jobs, they will probably get them if they ask. Could this cause resentment among other conscripts? Perhaps, perhaps not. This is a problem in a lot of countries with conscription. The powerful and the well-connected in society frequently get preferential treatment in conscription duties. They'll either get lazy, low-impact office jobs, or, on the opposite end of the spectrum, they might get elite, high-status combat posts that are usually difficult to qualify for. I do wonder what the South Korean government and military command will do if any of the BTS members actually want to do something adventurous or even dangerous. What if one wants to join the Marines or be a sniper? What if one of them wants to be a paratrooper? It'll be interesting to see how they'll handle one of their biggest pop stars doing something dangerous that could get them injured, maimed, or even killed. In any case, Jin and the other members of BTS will state their choice, and the military will either grant them their wish or simply assign them to something regardless of their wishes. Either way, it's off to basic training. Basic training will be hard, of course. The most famous American movie about basic training is probably Full Metal Jacket, and a lot of people think that this is what basic training is like. It is important to remember, however, that that movie reflected Marine Corps basic training during the Vietnam War. So much of what you see there in the movie isn't applicable these days. I don't know what it's like in the South Korean Army, but it probably won't be that extreme. I can tell you, I went in the American Army. It was nothing like Full Metal Jacket. There will be hard days, though. There will be hard days. There will be late nights. You'll be rushed through meals, and you'll always be running to the next class or the next firing range. Everyone will learn how to do the most basic military skills. That's why it is called basic training. Using a rifle and taking care of it, learning how to low crawl and camouflage yourself, stuff like that. Everyone has to know a little bit about this kind of stuff, even the people that are just going to be clerks, cooks, mechanics, nurses, whatever. But then, after basic, there comes the more advanced phase of training. That's where people like Jin are trained to do the actual job that they signed up for. So if you signed up to be a cook, then that's where you learn to cook. Mechanics will learn to fix things. Clerks will learn to use programs and spreadsheets. And the guys that are going to be combat riflemen will go on to infantry school and learn even more about weapons, grenades, camouflage, how to conduct ambushes and defenses and stuff like that. All the sexy action-adventure stuff you see in the movies. Once basic and advanced training are over, Jin will be assigned to a regular unit, or if he ends up in the Navy, to a ship or naval station. There, he'll carry out his military service for about 1.5 to 2 years, depending on what he signed up to do. And during this time, he'll be able to take leave on occasion and visit family. So, does this mean he could take leave and then maybe do a concert with the band and then go back to military duty? Technically, no. The South Korean military does not allow you to make a profit or engage in side hustles while you're in the military. Any money he earns while in uniform would have to be turned over to the government. This won't affect profits such as record sales for performances before he joined, but it would apply to any new performance he did while in service. So eventually his service will be over and he'll get out, and he will most likely start to reform the band. Gradually, all the other band members will go through the same process, filtering through their military service individually, and then leaving the military and reforming the band. I believe they plan to be done around 2025 or so, at which point BTS as a group will once again resume their normal performances. So why not just join all together? Pick something easy, get it over with, and get back to performances in just 1.5 years. That was one idea called the Big Bang Theory, that the whole band would join together, maybe even serve together, perhaps even serve as a military band and do their service, providing pop and hip-hop performances at military bases for soldiers. It sounds like a good idea on the surface, but remember, you're not allowed to earn profits as a soldier. Any money from those performances and any recordings sold while they were in the military would go to the South Korean government, not BTS. And technically, the government would be able to order BTS to perform whenever they wanted as soldiers under command and face punishment for refusing. So it is actually much smarter for BTS to break up, go in separately as individuals, and each pick something different. So there's little opportunity to put them together while they serve. Will BTS get together again after their service? Is it guaranteed? Most likely, yes. They have a good thing going, and it would be hard to step back and just go find a McJob somewhere. Military service may change their perspective on some things, but remember that the vast majority of men in Korea serve in the military. So they'll return not just to their families and friends, but a whole society that understands where they're coming from and what they've been through. They aren't likely to end up alienated, and if anything, they'll probably have interesting new life experiences to incorporate into their music. I'm not a big BTS fan myself. I've listened to a lot of their music and it is enjoyable, but it's not likely to be my first choice. But these guys are artists, performance artists, and they are about to embark on a journey that I've already taken as an artist myself. So I have a bit of empathy. And this may be a topic that interests people who read military-themed works like I produce. The topic of conscription is interesting. It interrupts lives in progress and can force change on someone who wasn't expecting it. It provides potential for character growth if you're writing fiction. So I intend to touch on the topic some more in an upcoming series on writing military fiction and incorporating those experiences into characters or settings. So if this interests you, hey, join up. Hit like and subscribe, and consider following me or my comics on other social media, links in the description below. And I promise I won't drop you for push-ups or have you peeling potatoes. So until next time, dismissed.
Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Back in on the run, on the run, on the run. Yeah.